Get the fire guy.
Creatures in the wild never sleep, some scaring the people with bizarre appearances, others acting completely insane. The woods are filled with chilling adventures, terrifying discoveries, and mysterious sightings. Let's unwind the most unsettling things people found in the forest. Hairless creature. Crawling around on all four of its legs, sharp claws, short ears with no tail, and brownish-gray skin without the fur. This strange-looking creature was spotted by a group of plantation workers in Sarawak, who, after believing it was an alien from outer space, started to beat the animal until it passed out. However, experts from environmental groups, after determining the animal was a rare Malayan sun bear, condemned the workers for beating the animal. And thankfully, when the bear regained consciousness, it was forced to go back into the jungle to avoid any other misunderstanding. Mysterious Cornish Pixie. The smallest humanoid remains ever discovered out of a falcon's nest. So, during a routine check, a man climbed a tall tree to inspect the nest when he found something despite the twigs and feathers. There was a skull, a spine, and the ribs of the tiniest human being. Well, how did it end up in a falcon's nest? Turns out, according to Cornish folklore, pixies used to live on the high moorland areas, which this man believes is the remains of a pixie who, after giving up on life, ended up getting buried in the falcon's nest. Skinwalker on trail. Looks like a good day for a jog along the trail. Well, that's at least what this man thought when he chose this trail to spend some time beside the green. But was it really a good day? Just when he happened to take the wrong turn, there was a huge skeletal beast awaiting for his surprise. Except that this one seemed pretty aggressive by the man's interaction, so it started to pick up rocks and started throwing them at him, just so he couldn't get near that beast. Well, thank goodness it ran away, or the day could have gotten much worse. Giant tree webs. Where trees with fruits and flowers are outdated, take a look at this clip featuring trees with a bunch of white webbed-like mass attached to them. Well, caterpillars, called tent caterpillars, are pretty much responsible for this bizarre sighting. They are particularly known for building a protective web made out of large silk in the crotch of tree branches to protect them from the weather, predators, and at night when they're on their sleep cycle. Also, to mark off their trails on a host tree, these tiny, hairy members emit pheromones as the larvae explore new territory. Monster frog. Believed to be the largest of its species, a monstrous cane toad named Toadzilla was found by rangers in Queensland's Conway National Park. Quite big and heavy, with a whopping weight of almost 6 pounds, Toadzilla is thought to eat anything it can fit into its mouth, including insects, reptiles, or even small mammals. Measuring up to the length of a human arm, according to research, with that size and weight, female cane toad, like potentially Toadzilla, would lay up to 35,000 eggs in a single go. Albino porcupine. On May 2021, a couple of people, while driving through the woods in Kennebunkport, spotted an unusually beautiful animal wandering in the middle of the woods. What is it? Upon closer inspection, the snow-white critter appears to be an albino porcupine, so conspicuous with its all-white fur and quills as it brushes through the woods, healthy and happy. According to experts, porcupines are nocturnal, and finding an albino one is absolutely rare. The condition is said to occur in only 1 out of 10,000 porcupines. It's time to show you a creature from the Jurassic era. The video shows many dinosaur-like creatures crossing over the hilltop while moving their long necks, snouted bodies, and tails elongated upright with greenish skin. But are they really baby dinosaurs? Well, actually, they are called coatis, a small mammal who snacks all day long and appears to be quite aggressive when it comes to keeping a safe distance within the boundaries. These hog-nosed animals are mostly found in groups of 15 to 20 snuffling along the forest floor, while fooling people with their uncanny resemblance to dinosaurs. Walking with 2 heads. While carrying the crown of achievement, this Sika buck in Hokkaido, Japan, was spotted with another decapitated Sika buck's head stuck to its antlers. According to experts, a reasonable theory could be that the two were locked in a battle when one passed away, where a surviving buck may have carried the rival until decay set in, thus separating the head, leaving behind the rest of the carcass's weight. Well, it's mating season, and 2 heads obviously seem better than 1. Giant snake skin. While massive snakes are somewhat familiar, a giant snake skin is something out of the ordinary. In August 2016, this petrifying sight was caught in Maine, featuring a churned up skin of a huge snake. According to an expert, the snake skin is measured up to 12 feet in length, believing it could belong to an anaconda. Apart from this, snake skin lying like this is not a natural phenomenon, which leads experts to thinking a hunter might have cleaned the snake neatly out of its clothes after having his big catch. Giant tortoise. Meet Diego, the Galapagos tortoise from San Diego Zoo. Diego is 100 years old today, and since the 1960s, he was held in captivity to participate in the breeding program to help rescuers save his species from going extinct. According to studies, Diego has fathered some 800 baby tortoises single-handedly up until now while saving his entire kind. So, as a reward, he's finally sent back home after almost 87 years to his native Hispaniola, where he could enjoy the rest of his life with his babies. Frog eating its skin. While it looks like this tiny little blue fella is choking, it's actually how nature has designed them to be. The video shows this frog shedding and eating its own skin. And for people freaking out over this frog, need to know why they do so. See, it's a natural occurrence for frogs and toads called shedding or sloughing, where frogs shed, remove, and eat their old skin. They do it so they don't leave any trace behind for predators to find them. A smart survival skill. Also, it's pretty nutritious for them. Dancing deer. A remote camera in Yellowstone National Park, United States, caught a rather very interesting sight of a deer rocking the forest floor with its crazy dance moves, hopping, bouncing, and spinning around in circles. The video shows this happy fella having the best time of its life. But what's the occasion? Well, according to scientists, they do not yet understand this unusual yet majestic behavior of the animal. So, maybe it's just how deers react when nobody is watching. Unusual animal. Somewhere in the Georgia pines, this guy, while hunting, saw a strange monster-looking creature walking towards him. Slowly and gradually, with one step at a time, the beast appears to be in pale green skin, crawling among the trees. Is it a wood monster? An animal hybrid? Or something out of a parallel universe? Well, it turns out it was a massive alligator roaming around the woods while scaring the people with his majestic yet petrifying appearance. Locked up bucks. This unusual sight shows 2 bucks locked up from antler to antler in an inescapable bond. But wait, one of them is just a carcass of a half-eaten buck, while the other thrives to bail out of this misery. Luckily for the deer, it was spotted by wildlife biologist Zach Walford, who was kind enough to lend this poor animal a hand of help. Found in the marshy meadow, the buck moves away when it hears the noise of the saw, but since there was no other option, Zach carefully and patiently approached the antler to cut it free. At first, the buck doesn't realize it's free, but once it did, it wasted no time making it escape. Goats on tree. If you have not heard of flying goats, then let me tell you that in southwestern Morocco, the goats can climb up the trees. These climbing goats are actually attracted to the fruit in argan, hence they clamber up to reach the pulpy treats. Something you can never see elsewhere. These so-called flying goats are basically trained, which involves enticing the goats into the tree with argan fruit and grain, and convincing them to climb up the tree with a stick. The entire process takes around 6 months, when the goats are finally ready to reach their heights. Bigfoot skull. This man, while across the swamps of Pacific Northwest, found the evidence of the ever-so-hyped-up creature, Bigfoot. While digging out this huge skull, he claimed that it might belong to a bear, but after taking a closer look, the skull had a hole, declaring it belongs to none other than a Bigfoot, who might have doomed into the woods by getting shot right in the head. Now the question is it really what we're thinking, or is it just another hoax? Breathing forest. It's no optical illusion. Turns out, breathing earth is a real thing. The video shows forest pulling off from the ground while trees sway back and forth while making the whole scenario look completely terrifying. But what causes the ground to appear to breathe with life? As it turns out, this whole phenomenon is a result of excess space under the tree's root system and strong winds. So, when the winds blow the trees above ground, pull the root system back and forth, loosening the soil underneath and looking as if it's actually breathing. Plant hoppers. A hopping snowflake or a ball of cotton? Well, you guys, these are called plant hoppers, a kind of insect that almost looks lifeless until it starts to slowly walk or amaze you with its hopping skills. Surrounded by a white cottony wax, these pesky little creatures like to appear in the form of clusters on streams and lower branches of trees. They are native to the Kinabatangan River, Sabah, in East Malaysia, feeding upon juices and saps pretty much most of the time. Deer skull hanging from tree. A man, while talking among the woods, got nuts to see this bizarre sighting. What on earth is a deer's head doing on a tree trunk? Well, it's not something unusual. However, judging by the looks of this hanging, lifeless skull, it appears the unfortunate animal had doomed right next to the tree while encountering a huge animal attack or a hunter's target. But apart from this, one theory claims that a sacrificial beheading of a virgin deer is done annually, where passers-by have to rub and kiss the skull thrice to ensure a safe journey. So, what do you think about it? Elephants' funeral rites. Turns out elephants have the most sensitive emotional reaction when it comes to one of their own kind getting demised. The video is from Samburu National Reserve in northern Kenya, displaying a unique behavior of animals where a group of elephant families, using their trunks, touch the departed soul as if they're actually mourning over it. They seem to have a much better understanding of funerals than most other animal species. They visit the body repeatedly, sometimes long after there's nothing left but bones. Before we move any further, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you can keep watching our amazing content. Fox wedged in a tree. A man named Rosewell found this red fox with its paw tightly wedged in a Y-shaped tree in Georgia. The incident took place in February 2022, where the rescue team arrived just in time to detangle the poor fox, who might have gotten stuck while using the tree as a scratching post. The footage shows rescue workers trying to open the tree to free the fox's paw, but it was a tough job. The tree seemed strong, while the fox appeared to be in a hurry. However, the man gently managed to free the animal, who ran off in no time into the forest. Giant snake carcass. A large, rotting carcass of a snake with no head was found in the woods behind a factory in Hubbard, Ohio. Not sure if the head was removed from the snake's body or if it was eaten by a mysterious predator, but a guy named Scott Putnam found it while he was looking for mushrooms to cook. According to an expert, it appears to be a Burmese python, which is not native to Ohio. But the question then is, who dropped it off there? Bear on a pole. In June 2021, residents of Arizona were in quite a shock when they saw a bear tangled to an electric pole wire, dangling into the air with no way out of it. After sensing the dangers of the situation, the rescue team was called upon immediately, and the power was disabled to avoid the bear getting electrocuted. The team then tried to persuade the bear to come down, but since it appears to be quite the boss of its own, it eventually went down on its own, and ran off into the desert, safe and sound. Snake eating eggs. Well, you might have seen snakes eating rats, frogs, birds, or other larger animals. But it turns out there's a species of snake who, besides eating all of this, is pretty good at finding and swallowing eggs. Especially if it's chicken eggs, because they are apparently their favorite. The video of this trail camera shows a bull snake trying to rob a nest filled with eggs. This is because they are non-venomous and generally eat whatever they can kill and swallow. Also, do you know, if a bull snake has discovered a chicken's coop, it's virtually impossible to keep it away without relocating the snake. Ninja rat versus snake. While studying the survival tactics of desert kangaroo rats, scientists were shocked to see this rat pulling off some real cool ninja tricks to defend itself from getting ended by a snake's bite. The video shows this tiny little creature soaring into the air with a powerful jump, just as it felt a threat from behind. Well, all thanks to their sensitive hearing, these rats can easily ambush predators, even when it's dark outside. It took them a few milliseconds to avoid any potential attacks, and will leap high up before getting themselves served as a nice dinner plate. All they gotta do is react before the snake gets the chance to inject its venom into the rat's body. Glowing mushrooms. If you're scared of stepping up into the forest when it's dark, well, these glowing bioluminescent mushrooms have got you covered. Found in the forest of North America, these flat fungi are typically a cluster of tiny growths on tree trunks, branches, or even sticks, appearing as dull yellow-beige mushrooms during the daytime, while turning into a beautiful neon fluorescent green as soon as the sun starts to set. Also known as glowing fungi or bitter mushrooms, the light-producing phenomenon is due to a chemical reaction, including luciferin present in their bodies. Huge skeleton. In August 2020, an unusual discovery was made from the Riangpara forest in Tripura. Deep inside the rubber plantation area, the skeletal remains of a giant human was discovered by a boy named Bilat Rang. The chilling footage shows pretty well intact skeletal bones with hairs still attached to the skull, all wrapped up in mud. However, the identity of the recovered skeleton is yet to be identified by the police. People on social media claim that it's nothing but a skeleton from a science lab, while many are still determined to know the actual mystery behind it. What about you guys? Today's open discussion is about a picture of this eerie, short-heighted creature standing in the middle of the forest. A man named Erwin Sonder, while exploring among the British Isles, stumbled upon this creature, which apparently he believes is a real-life pixie. Quite skinny in an olive-green skin color, this dwarf with bulging eyes and pointed ears, after suspecting the moment in the woods, runs out of sight while hiding behind a huge tree trunk. Legends say these creatures lived on Earth even before humans made their first encounter on the planet. But do they still exist? You tell us in the comments section below. Giant python. In June 2022, in Florida, a giant python was discovered lurking beneath the swamp, which according to the locals is the largest Burmese python they've ever seen. Measuring up to 18 feet long, with a whopping weight of 215 pounds. It turns out that the snake was found with 122 eggs developing inside her body, and after fighting for a good 20 minutes to subdue the snake, the grouper found out she had eaten an entire deer before getting trapped. Anyhow, did you know, despite being big in size, pythons are generally harmless? They are non-venomous and like to squeeze the life out of their prey simply by suffocating. Turtles riding on hippo. Who's up for free piggyback rides? This hippo is not changing a single penny while carrying a group of cheeky turtles on its back. The video was caught in South Africa, featuring tiny terrapins riding on the back of the hippopotamus. The hippo seems untroubled by its little passengers as they enjoy their free ride. Well, it turns out, terrapins, being ectothermic, were looking to warm their bodies in the sun. They normally scrabble onto any rock or log, but with this particular dam having neither, the hippo was the next logical option. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again